And we welcome you to this edition of In the Circle on D1 Softball. I'm Eric Lopez alongside Victor Anderson. Coming up, the Olympics are over in Paris, but what if softball was a part of the Olympics in Paris like it should have been? But it is. Victor and I are going to pick our own USA roster that we think would have been for 2024 coming up on this edition. Plus, Victor, we got a special guest.
A person that I'm very familiar with, the new head coach at the University of Montana, Steph Ewing, will stop by on the podcast to talk about her unique path to go from San Marcos to Missoula and the interesting place where she was officially offered the head coaching job of Montana. All that and more coming up in this episode of In the Circle on D1 Softball. Make sure you subscribe and download to our podcast wherever you get your good podcasts. Rate us and review us 5 stars. If you rate us 4 stars, we tend to believe that you will prefer breaking in your Olympic games rather than softball. And make sure you follow us on In the Circle SB on our YouTube channel. AU Tuesday coming up this Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. And of course, Eric Lopez, for those of you who are not listening or following us, is wearing his Cat Osterman Athletes Unlimited jersey. Probably rubbing in the fact that as of this recording, he is still absolutely mollywop. He is whooping me like Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, mollywop the bloodline this Friday night on SmackDown.
No comment on any of that. I am wearing Cat Osterman here for inspiration as we make our picks on the U.S. roster, which you could watch as well on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching this segment, particularly on the YouTube channel, you got a special treat, everybody. A friend of the show, Ethan Wells, making an unexpected cameo back in the background as we're doing the show.
The beauties from recording from our studios, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens.
Yeah, it's a long.
I'll put it this way: you won't get this kind of content anywhere else. I know that much.
No. All right, let's get to it. Let's start. As I mentioned, the Olympics just concluded in Paris. A pretty popular Olympics, Victor. I think a lot of people got into it. It's a crazy concept that NBC did with the help of their streaming site, Peacock, which is they aired everything live. What a concept.
Everything live? What?
Live. I could watch. I watched basketball live. I watched everything live. It was great.
My mind is blown by that news.
But the only negative, obviously, there was no softball in the Olympics. That will change in 2028 in Los Angeles / Oklahoma City there. But got me thinking, Victor, what if there was an Olympics this year in Paris? Let's just say they would have figured out that softball is way more interesting of a sport than break dancing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so me and Victor have been working on this for the last week. We have not discussed this. We have not exchanged messages about it. It's been type secret. But we both worked on a USA roster that we think would have been the U.S. roster for this year, at least in our humble opinion. Doesn't mean we're 100% right.
No.
So don't start. But with all due respect to the other countries, we'll just assume that your rosters are pretty similar to what everybody would expect. So anyway.
Right.
Now we're following the international rules, which is 15 active players and 3 alternates. That's what they do in the Olympics. That's what they did in Tokyo. It reminded me as I was doing this exercise how much I hate that and how outdated that is, but whatever.
There's other things on this podcast that are outdated that you hate talking about.
It's just like nobody uses 15. Like rosters are bigger now than ever before. Like 15.
Yes, exactly.
Like I remember we did this during the coverage of the Tokyo Olympics back in 21. Like just push it to 18.
Make it 18 active players.
Yeah, and then I think we'd be fine. But anyway, we're going to follow the rules. So here we are. All right. So what we're going to do is we'll mention each position, and we'll name who we have in. Now let's start with this, Victor.
Yes.
Let's start with pitcher. How many pitchers did you decide to have on your roster? Because that's always a key factor in this when you have 15 on your roster, especially with the American roster. I'm curious, how many pitchers do you have first on your roster?
I have 3 true pitchers on my roster.
Okay.
And technically I have 2 true pitchers and I got 2 who can both pitch and hit.
So you got 4.
Yes, 4 pitchers.
I have 4 pitchers as well. All right, go ahead and unveil Your pitching staff.
Well, my pitching staff is it's literally the same pitching staff that represented Team USA in the World Championships this past summer, which is Rachel Garcia, Kelly Maxwell, Ali Carter, and Megan Faramo. That's my pitching staff.
All right. I have Rachel Garcia as well. I have Ali Carter as well. Both of them can play first base. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
I have Montana Fouts as my third pitcher. And I have Nyjah Kennedy. Have you heard of her?
We may have mentioned her name a few times on our recent episodes.
I have her on this team. She was the best pitcher in college softball. I want her on this roster. Kind of like a little bit like Cat Osterman. I'm wearing the Cat Osterman jersey. Kind of like Cat Osterman was the stud superstar player in college softball in 2004. She skipped the year. They brought her into the Olympics there with those vets. That's what I'm kind of looking at this with Nyjah Kennedy there. Of note, I have Lexi Kilfoyle as an alternate.
I do too.
Okay, so we disagree on two pitchers, basically. I have Fouts and Kennedy. You have Maxwell and
Faramo.
Okay, pitchers. First base. Are we going like position by position, or are we going infield or outfield? Because my roster, I got infield, outfield. Well, I went position by position, but we could do it however you like. Let's go ahead then. Catcher. What do you have for catcher?
I got Deja Mulipola and Savannah Jakewish.
I have Deja as well. I have Jakewish as an alternate, so we're not far off. I have Kinsey Hansen as my other catcher. I do carry two catchers on the active roster, and then I have an alternate in Jakewish. There, you could flip either way there. I see what you're saying with Jakewish. He's a little more versatile, can play some of the infield position as well. So I get that as well. All right, let's go now. Go ahead and let us know, what do you have in the outfield?
Okay, now this is going to be where I have the most feedback.
Sure.
I'm actually going to be carrying 5 outfielders on my roster.
Okay.
I have Kayla Kowalik, Jocelyn Allo, Amanda Lorenz, Haley McClenny, and Jada Coleman. That's my outfield.
Wow. Okay.
Now, here's the other thing, Eric. Going back to versatility, Kowalik can play outfield and can also catch. So that's why I have her there on my roster, that versatility piece.
All right. We agree on Amanda Lorenz. I have Amanda Lorenz, in fact, as a left fielder. I have Jocelyn Allo as well. We agree on that. I have Allo as a DH, but you're right, she can play outfield as well. I think that we agree on Haley McClenny. I have McClenny at center field. This would be her last major event. So she qualifies, even though she's retiring this year. So we get one more Olympics out of her. That would have been the cool thing if we were in Paris there.
Yes.
So we agree on those 3. So where we disagree, you have Kowalik and Coleman.
Yes, I'm carrying 5 outfielders, so you'll understand why. You'll understand why when you look at my infield.
Sure. No, I think we're on the similar page. I have Maya Brady, who can play the outfield. In fact, I have Maya Brady as my right fielder, but can also play shortstop. Okay? And then I have a recent guest of the show, Bubba Nichols, as well, who can play outfield and the infield. Remember, she was that utility player they had on the last Olympics. She could play the infield, could play the outfield. We know her track record in international ball as well. I have to have that on my roster as well. So we're not far off. We have the same philosophy. So technically, you could argue I have 5 outfielders as well. Allo's my DH with Nichols as utility there. So we're pretty similar. We disagree on 2. Okay. Go. Now we move to the infield. What do you have there?
Infield, again, I'm kind of mirroring what USA softball did in the World Championships. I got Hannah Flippin, Sis Bates, Tiare Jennings, and Jessie Warren.
We're not far off. I have Tiare Jennings as well at shortstop. Also can play second. Remember, played second base for a long time. Versatile second short. I have Jessie Warren as well. I'm glad you do. To me, she's the best third baseman in the world. Just look at what she's done in the last 3 years
in Athletes Unlimited play. 2-time AUX Defensive Player of the Year, Champ Series Defensive Player of the Year last year, well on her way to potentially winning that award again this year if it's either going to be her or Haley McClenny. I value that defense, and she also had a good world championships with the bat as well. So I value that defense that Jessie Warren brings to the table.
I agree. So I have Warren. She's my starting third baseman. I have Jennings at short, who could play second. I also have Hannah Flippen, who could play second and the middle infielders and third base. She could play second and third as well. So do you have an? So do you have an extra infielder over me?
I got four. I have 4 infielders, 5 outfielders.
So where do we disagree on?
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that's why, because I have 3 infielders. I'm carrying 3 infielders. I'm carrying
3. I'm carrying 4 infielders, 5 outfielders, 2 catchers.
6, 7,
because here's the thing.
10.
Garcia, as you referenced, can play first base. Carter can also play first base.
Oh, that's right. I got 14 players on my roster.
Okay, time out. Hold on, folks. Mr. Lopez, who's been harping on me about not being ready to have this exercise complete, now he's the one that's failed to meet the requirements? Sir, what is wrong with you?
Well, there was some back and forth scratching. Like, it was not easy to do this. I think I only have 14. That's exciting then. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job by you. So you got 15,
folks.
So you got 15. That's good. I still disagree with you on Sis Bates. I do not have Sis Bates. Now that I know that I have another roster spot.
Do you want to add Sis Bates?
No. I am adding Skylar Wallace. I'm adding Skylar Wallace there to make it my 15th player. Because basically what I'll do is I have Deja Mulipula, Kinsey Hans as my active catchers with Jake Wish as an alternate. First base, I'm going with Garcia and Carta, who could play first base, and Lorenz. Remember, she could play some first base as well. Second base, I got Hannah Flippen, who could start at second base. Tiari Jennings could also start at second base. Jennings could start at shortstop. I could play Skylar Wallace at shortstop as well. Then I have Jessie Warren at third base with Lorenz, McClenny, Brady, Allo, Nichols in the outfield. Garcia, Fouts, Kennedy, Carta as my pitching staff. That's what I have. So the only thing we disagree in the infield is you have Sis Bates. I have Skylar Wallace.
Yep.
And then the outfield, the only we disagree is you've got Kowalik on this roster. Yep. I have Maya Brady. I have Bubba Nichols. And you have
Jada Coleman.
And then pitching-wise, I have Fouts and Kennedy to go along with Garcia and Carta.
I have Maxwell and Faremo.
Correct. What are your alternates?
My alternates are, ironically enough, Najee Kennedy. I have Lexi Kilfoyle, and I have Aaron Koffel as my alternate. Those are my alternates.
I have Jake Wish. I have Kilfoyle as my alternates, as well as my other alternate being, who did I write down here? That's pretty good. Ironically, I have Jada Coleman as an alternate.
So we're not too far off.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I thought we'd disagree more. I'm not going to lie. I thought we would disagree more. You want to make, give me your thoughts there as we kind of compare.
Well, the only real, because I'm thinking about this roster and the names that we have on. The only real name that I'm surprised that neither of us had on that played with Team USA is Mia Davidson from Mississippi State.
Sure. Could have made a case for her, yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, neither of us have Davidson, but we all have the pretty much the kind of like the 25 or 30 names. Well, also no Valerie Cagle on either one of our rosters.
Right, you're right. That's another notable one.
Yeah. Here's the thing. For full disclosure, I had Cagle on my original roster, but I crossed her off and put Koffel instead. I had Kowalik as an alternate. crossed her off, put her on the team, and put Kilfoyle as an alternate.
It is not easy.
No, it's not. It's not. And kind of figuring out what my defense would be. I have Lorenz in left. I got McClenny in center, Coleman in right. Honestly, you can flip McClenny and Coleman because I think they're both athletic enough where they can play either spot in either center or right field. My infield, I will put Garcia at first, Jennings at second, flipping at short, Warren at third, Mulipola at the plate, Mulipola doing the catching, Jocelyn Allo's my DP.
Sure, Flippin could play short, but it's the same thing. I mean, I have Flippin at second, Jennings at short. It's either the same with Warren there. And again, I have Skylar Wallace in that mix. I just like her. And here's the thing. I just want bats. I want more bats. I mean, I think in the last Olympics, it was proven the U.S. was short from an offensive standpoint.
Fair.
The other thing I did, Deja was an Olympian, has experience in the Olympics in 21, got real positive reviews. Remember, she caught, I think, Kat Osterman in those Olympics. So that's pretty high praise. Hansen, I've been told from people that have played with Kinsey Hansen that she's one of the best catchers they've ever had.
I strongly considered Hansen as well, along with Davidson and Jaquish.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. The fact that she knows how to catch Kelly Maxwell and she has the experience with Coleman and Jennings and Allo competing on big stages. And it would not surprise me, Eric, in 2028 if Kinsey Hansen's a part of this USA roster with the experience and the presence she provides behind the plate, and also can come up with some clutch hits with late game situations.
Yeah, I mean, I have her paired up with Deja, but Deja has the Olympic experience. Hannah Flippin. Trying to remember now who else. Obviously, McClenny I thought was the best player in that last Olympics. I don't think she's really tapered off that much. Rachel Garcia obviously was part of the Olympic team. Hopefully healthy. Banging up with some injuries there. Ali Carta, veteran pitcher, pitched in big games in the Olympics, in the international competition. I think certainly the veteran leader for this young pitching staff. I would grant you that. If you want to nitpick it.
I mean, that's the only thing with your staff. Your staff is talented, but it is young, especially with Kennedy, who will still have 2 years remaining. Fouts, who's just recently graduated from Alabama. And my situation, I got Faramo, Maxwell, we all saw what she did in Oklahoma City, leading the Sooners to a 4th straight national championship. And then the veterans in Carter and Garcia.
Very interesting to say the least. My other alternate I thought about, but I didn't do it because she's still in college, is Reese Outwood.
From Texas.
Another one. Good power bat.
That's enough. Kiki Malloy. We never mentioned
Janae
Kiki
Jefferson,
Malloy.
Texas. Janae Jefferson was another one I thought as well. Jordy Ball being out all year with an injury, that's why I kind of disqualified her for this. Would not have made it, unfortunately. If she would have obviously been healthy this year, who knows? She might have made this team there. Any other names that popped in your head as you were going through this exercise? Do you agree with me, though, that 15 is a little...
15, given the depth of talent, just on the USA side alone, is a very tight restriction. But it shows you, ladies and gentlemen, how difficult it is for the coaches and the committee to make these decisions. So I know everyone's going to be grabbing at us about our selections. Well, why don't you follow this same exercise?
I did not enjoy. Yeah. I don't know why I thought of this idea because it was very stressful. I did not enjoy. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, Vic. I don't know what I was thinking. Wait till 4. Yeah. And to think we were actually considering doing like one for like 2028, and now we realize, nah, that's too many uncertainties.
Yeah, too much stuff between now and then, sir.
Coaching staffs. You have a coaching staff in mind?
Keep the same coaching. Keep the same coaching staff in mind.
Which is
Heather Tarr,
head coach,
Tony Baldwin, Tim Walton, Sydney Ball Malone.
They have never lost as a staff together. I would concur.
Why break up that staff if they haven't lost?
Correct. That would have been the staff, I think, for 2024 Paris. I concur. We'll see what happens moving forward 4 years from now. But yeah, I agree with you on that. We would have had those 4 there. Would one of us have been gone to Paris? Who knows? Anyway, whatever. All right, that's our U.S. Olympic roster.
As long as someone fronted the tab, we're good.
That is our U.S. Olympic roster, Victor's and mine. We have some disagreements, which is good, but not as many as I thought we would. So maybe that's good, maybe that's not. I'm sure some of you will as well. Send your comments on which ones you would have if the U.S. was in the Olympics this past year.
And remember,
again, the rule. It's 15, number one. Number two, it's this year. No players from the like the past that have retired. I want players just under the idea.
Players who are active players.
Correct. And everything that's transpired this year counts. Like, for example, Jordy Ball injury automatically took her out, at least in my view. There's too much uncertainty there among other players. But there you go. Those are our 15 players. Good job by you. You were on top of this. A lot better. I don't know how I miscalculated. You see, here's my sheet. Look at how many scratches, how many back and forths I had to do. No wonder I lost track on how many. I can't count anymore. I'm getting old. All right. That will do it for this segment here on In the Circle D1 Softball, our U.S. 2024 Olympic roster.